Hello, everyone. Come back to the talk again on platform Sutra, Prajna. Continue with that. Last time we mentioned about to have respect for the three jewels and to learn about the three higher study, which the precept, samadhi, and wisdom. And three of them are working together. One is not lacking from the others. So now we continue with the translation. Good friends, in this teaching of our 84,000 wisdom are generated from one prajna. Why? Because the people of this world have 84,000 wearisome defilements. If they were without wearisome defilements, wisdom would always be manifest, and they would not depart from the self-natures. To be enlightened to this Dharma is to without thought, is to be without thought, to be without recollection, without attachment, not to activate the false and deceptive. This is to allow one's self, this is referring to a suchness nature, to contemplate with wisdom, without grasping or rejecting to all the dharmas, is to see the nature and accomplish the enlightenment of Buddhahood. So Master Huineng saying that to all the good friends, or the so-called Kalyana Mitra. The method that I offer is coming from prajna. And you need to understand that just prajna itself could give rise to wisdom. Just prajna itself. Why? Because people of the world have all kinds of vexations. So if they want to live from vexation to reach liberation, then they need wisdom. And once they are liberated, then they'll be able to see the nature and reaching Buddhahood. Now, therefore, if using the method of prajna that could eradicate our vexations, then it means that if we don't have any vexations at all, then wisdoms will always be in front of us. It never leaves from the so-called our self-nature. So for those who realize, understand the practice of prajna, and they realize then they don't have any scattered thoughts. They will not linger into the past, as well as reckon to the future, and they do not attach to any phenomenon at all. Because of this wisdom of prajna, it's very clear. Therefore, they will not give rise to the false deceptive thinking. And they could clearly contemplate or seeing their nature, which is the mind which is pure, undefiled. And actually, it is like this. So they leave from this so-called language, words, thinking, but they are truly living like this. And and using this wisdom to contemplate on all the Dharma. So within their mind, there is no the so-called gain and loss, the so-called grasping or rejecting. If that's the case, then they could really realize the self-nature and reaching Buddhahood. So here, how do we use the wisdom to contemplate according to the Platform Sutra? So in here, the Platform Sutra says that in this teaching, about 84,000 wisdom are generated from one prajna. Why? Because people of this world have 84,000 wearisome defilements. If they were without this wearisome defilements, wisdom would always be manifest, and they would not depart from the self-nature. To be enlightened to this Dharma is to be without thought, to be without recollection, without attachment, to not activate the false and deceptive. This is to allow one's self-nature to contemplate with wisdom, without grasping or rejecting to all the Dharmas, is to see the nature and accomplish the enlightenment of Buddhahood. Now, the word prajna is coming from Sanskrit. And in English, you could say that wisdom. But why? Why don't we say prajna is wisdom? Or why don't we separate the two? Prajna and wisdom. Well, we need to know that prajna is without discrimination, while wisdom still has discrimination. This is to say, prajna is the entirety the whole thing, while wisdom is to function in a way is according to the different objects, different situation. So prajna is the root of wisdom. And the wisdom that is coming from prajna will have function, as well as it has power. So wisdom could be manifest through practice, but prajna is not coming from practice. It's already there. So up until now, we understand that the so-called prajna and wisdom are different, but they cannot be separated. And in the Tiantai school, they talk about prajna, they talk about Buddha nature, they talk about nirvana, in a way that is, there are three things, but it is three in one. Because prajna has this Buddha nature, and prajna is when we enter into nirvana, then prajna and nirvana is the same thing. That is to say, prajna is unmoving. So we call the Buddha nature referring to sentient beings. So we say sentient beings have Buddha nature, but when reaching Buddhahood, then the Buddha nature itself, we call it Dhammakaya, which is the Dharma body. So this Buddha nature is when sentient beings are still sentient beings. So we don't call sentient beings as the Dhammakaya or Dharma body, because at that time, their Dhammakaya or Dharma body has not been manifest yet. It was covered by vexations. When vexations are not there, when it is severed, then whatever manifests through the manifested of the Buddha nature, then it is called Dharma body. So all of us are just ordinary people. We could only say that all sentient beings has Buddha nature, but we cannot say that everyone has Dharma body or Dhammakaya, because the Dhammakaya or Buddha nature, Dharma body of the Buddha is that it exists in all the space and time. It is not coming, it is not going. is always there. So since there's no coming, no going, then there's nothing that one is attached to. But Buddha nature is different. Buddha nature, referring to every sentient beings, has the potential of reaching Buddhahood. Everyone is able to reach Buddhahood. But before reaching Buddhahood, our ability, our strength is limited. Say, right now you're here, we are here. We cannot be at the other place. If we are at the other place, we cannot be here right now. Yes, just because we are limited. So when one is enlightened, then one will be able to realize the existence of prajna. Although prajna is never moved, it's unmoving. So if we don't have any vexations, then it is to say that you've realized prajna and you really realize what is the Buddha nature. So once you realize the Buddha nature, that is to say, you really realize the so-called Dharmakaya or Dharma body. But when vexation reappear, then prajna is not there. Of course, we will not know where Dharmakaya is. Therefore, when practicing the Buddha Dharma, then there are times that we could realize a function of wisdom. But there are times when wisdom is not there. Of course, prajna disappears, but prajna has never moved. So, put it another word, you say that prajna, we say that wisdom is because of vexations. There time there's vexations, there time there's no vexation. So when we have vexations, then wisdom disappears. When there is no vexations, wisdom will be there. So in the process of practice, there are people who realize that they have vexation. That means the wisdom has been disappeared. But we cannot say that this person's prajna disappeared, because prajna never move. Okay, now talking about this 84,000, what is it about this 84,000? Either in the Avatamsaka Sutra or the Lotus Sutra, or many of the sutra as well as Shastra, we often we ought to often encounter this number, 84,000. So it means here is not really exactly it's 84,000 something, but it just means that is many, many, many. It's countless. It's too many, too much. So as long as we are able to practice, and we practice according to the guidance of Buddha Dharma, then certain times wisdom will manifest. And when wisdoms are manifesting, we are at that moment cut off our vexations. So here and there, one by one, with all kinds of vexation being severed. So when it is severed, then the function of wisdom is there. So to say that our sentient beings had 84,000 vexations, or it is translations that wearisome defilements. Now, in this term here, the direct translation is called the wearisome dust. You know, the dust that we could see through the window when the sunlight is shining onto the window. And then through that, we could see so many dust. It's countless. That is why it's called this wearisome defilement, just like dust. So many. So because of this, so many kinds or so many numbers of this vexations, then we use this 84,000 wisdom to sever them. Say, for example, when we, what about greediness? It's very heavy. Then we use the generosity to decrease the greediness. And when there are very strong hatred feeling, then we should make use of compassion and kindness to cut off our vexations. What about our mind is very hectic? We cannot really settle down. Then we use meditation, we use counting the breath, we use follow the breath, we even use the recitation of Buddha's name and do prostrations, and also we do repentance. And even using this, besides using this, all these methods, we could also use the mantras to help us. So this wisdom is coming from the prajna, and prajna is the methods or our methods so that we could cut off our vexations. So the so-called platform sutra is prajna. So how do we use of the method of prajna to sever our vexations? It says that if they were without these wearisome defilements, wisdom would always be manifest, and they would not depart from the self-nature. That is to say, if we don't have all kinds of vexation, then wisdom is always there. And we will not depart from our self-nature. This self-nature here referring to the Buddha nature. It is just like prajna is with the same quality. And it is, prajna is unmoved. The nature of that is not moving. So that is to say, without vexations, if we don't give rise to any vexation, that is to say, we have come to realizations of the so-called Dharma gate of prajna. And continue on is that prajna is without thought, without recollection, without attachment. Now, we need to understand that prajna is without thought here. Certain time people think that we have no thoughts at all. But actually, it's not like this. It's without attachments, without hanging to anything. So people has different problem psychologically, the problem coming from the environment, problem coming from the physical body. And many people would like to get help. Then our teacher will teach them certain methods. If people are reciting the Buddha's name, then our teacher will tell them to repent and also recite Buddha's name more. But when it is coming to the usage of chant, then he uses this word, don't mind it. Don't mind it. Well, when you're poor, although you don't mind it, but you need to work hard to earn your living. When someone was disturbed by the spirit, although the guidance here is to say, don't mind it, but actually one still needs to recite the Buddha's name more. So something does happen to our body or psychologically, and whatever that we are encountering in the environment, there are people who are really annoyed. There are people, even sometimes they are really, really bad. And there are people who are so lovely. So people who are annoyed, but they keep on bothering you. They won't let go. People that you like very much, and you have a feel for it, and you chase after them. The more you chase, the more they are going away. So this is quite difficult. So what to do then? Just don't mind it. Well, for people you love, you like, they run away. Well, what do you do then? Oh, you don't mind it. But although you don't mind it, you still think of ways so that the one you love will understand you, will believe in you. What happened if I go after this person for so many years? I didn't get it. Then it's okay. Just don't mind it. That is to say, let go. What about people who annoy us? People always never leave from us. Well, what you do is that maybe you could just temporarily stay away from these people. The so-called don't mind it means that if you cannot really escape, and it is just around. So your attitude is that you just don't mind it. You will not be annoyed by it. You will say, okay, that's the way it is. That is called the practice of don't mind it. If you do so, then when you take the exam, it's going to be at ease, more at ease. And it's possible that you will do better with your exam. But if you're too tense in it, then the more tense you are, the worse that you get through your two exams. For those who have the so-called the illness that is called terminal illness, say, cancers, and doctor had already told them, you need to prepare for your time that you're going to pass away soon. And then our teacher also teaches that, first of all, don't wait. Don't wait about death. Don't wait to die. The second, not to be afraid of dying. That's the second thing. The third one is make vows. And make vows so that if you recover from illness, then you vow to do things that are of benefit to people. And you could continue on doing it. But while you are still sick, then you could always recite the name of the Buddha or the name of the Bodhisattvas. Guan Yin Bodhisattva, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, Siddhika Praja Bodhisattva, and any Bodhisattva, any great Bodhisattvas that you are familiar with. But when you are reciting, don't be tense in reciting. If that's the case, then your illness will decrease and you may live longer. So this method is called don't mind it. What about no thought? No thought here in our mind. There's no scattered thoughts, no wandering thought. It's called no thought. So usually, what is it that we're thinking of? We're thinking of the past, we are thinking of the future, and we are thinking of the things that we are encountering right now. And whatever that is, when we encounter whatever that is, we're giving rise to. So this is thoughts. But if there is real prajna, then all the situation, doesn't matter what situation it is, could be joy, sorrow, could be sweet, could be bitter, that we encounter in life. And it could be honor or disgrace, superiority or inferiority, noble or lowly. And whatever situation that is in front of us, in our mind, you don't give rise to disturbed mind. That is to say, we don't give rise to this mind that is connected with vexations in there. So this is called the so-called no thought. It doesn't mean that, you know, you could practice so that you don't have any thoughts at all, because we still function in our everyday life. Now, recollection. Recollection is to memorize things in the past, but it also has the meaning of reckoning. Reckoning about what? Reckoning about the past and reckoning about the future. We're guessing, we have some doubts. So this is called recollection. So if we have real wisdom, the prajna, the wisdom of prajna is in front of us, then we will not have these vexations. That is, you cannot let go of the thing in the past. We are worried about the future, and things or matters that we're not clear, you will have doubt. Or we are very proud of ourselves. We could also feel inferior about ourselves. All of these vexations will not be there if we have wisdom. And then, without attachment, and because there is no thought, no recollection, then there is no attachment right there. But that doesn't mean that the person is dead. Everything that is appearing in front of us, we clearly know. Either male or female, it's red, it's green, it smells good, it's pungent. Everything is very clear in front of us. So we don't give rise to this so-called like or dislike. When we see someone, we feel this person, I don't like this person. And we see some person, you think, oh, I like this person. And when we lost our money, we feel very sad. And then sometime, you know, we got some money, feel very excited. This is all called attachment. So without attachment, everything is clear. If someone gives you some money, you know that you get the money. If you lose the money, you know you lose money, because you're not dumb. Of course you know. But the thing is that in our mind, we will not feel very sad about it. Someone dying and say that, oh, this is good to die. If we say something like this, it seems like we don't have any feeling at all. But yes, people die. We will not say, yes, it's good to die. And that is not right. Because we are still a living being. But we are not supposed, or we will try not to be so sad about this person that passed away. And then there's not to activate the false and deceptive. The false is not true, it's not right. And it could be deceptive, could be lying, could be treating others, could be boasting about oneself, thing that is supposed to be that you say no, thing not good that you say yes, it's good. So all these could be deceiving. And even you know your ability that you cannot do it, certain thing, but still you like to boast about yourself. And you don't have this ability to do so. And we still want to do it. So that is, you also deceptive, fake and deceptive. You don't have this knowledge, you don't have this skill to reach certain goals, certain things, and you still want to do it. And that could be deceptive to yourself and others. And somehow for sentient beings, more or less, we also have this habitual tendencies. And but here, once we know about it, then we don't use this standard to measure others. If we do so, then you could become just like that, deceptive and false and deceptive. So what about this is this is to allow oneself nature to contemplate with wisdom without grasping or rejecting to all Dharma, is to see the nature and accomplish the enlightenment of Buddhahood. So the so-called true suchness nature is the self-nature. And it is really so. So if our mind, the original nature, is pure, then it is called this true suchness nature. It is really like this. So what is it then? Well, this so-called self suchness nature, or true suchness nature, it lives from words, lives from language, and it lives from thinking. But it is truly there. So this is called the true suchness. So if you are really realizing that, that is to say, after you have wisdom, then you are really truly realize prajna. And what is it that you're realizing? You realize it's true suchness nature or the self-suchness nature is the self-nature that is unmoving. So this true suchness nature actually referring to the prajna. So prajna will give rise to wisdom. The true suchness nature is the opposite of vexations. So when vexations are not there, your self-nature will manifest. And once you have wisdom, vexation is not there. So this prajna is the root that gives rise to wisdom. So this is to allow one's true suchness, self-suchness nature to contemplate with wisdom. So this wisdom is coming from the self-suchness nature. It is a power of contemplation. But since the self-nature is unmoved, so using the wisdom, one could contemplate. What is it that one is contemplating on? Actually, it's referring to clearly contemplation. That is to say, one would clearly contemplate on something. First of all, is contemplate referring to watching it clearly, and clearly, with clarity, is to let the person who watch will see clearer. So contemplate, we use wisdom, and clarity, we also use clarity to contemplate. You could say it is the same thing. But the one who contemplate, who watch in a way that is very clear, is called contemplate. Usually, if there is without light, then we can't see anything, right? That is to say, when we turn off the light, we cannot see people. But here, with the function of wisdom, then naturally they are very clear about what is it that's going on. But since we are ordinary people, we don't have wisdom, but how to do so that we are clearly observing. There are a few points. One is that be objective, the first one. The second thing is be calm. And the third thing is be careful. And then the fourth one is in detail. So observing something, we are more objective, but we also need to be calm and careful and in detail. if we have these four kinds of things, then we could observe many things clearer. And we will not be influenced by our emotion in handling things. If we are not influenced by our sentiment, emotion in handling things, then we are more objective. Then we could see clearer. Although at that time, we don't have wisdom yet. But somehow, with this attitude, we are in tune, in accordance with wisdom. Usually, what happened to us is that if something has nothing to do with us, either from our feeling or something that is referring to good or bad to us, and the way we see these things, usually it's clearer. Or whatever that we have to say, then we are more of an objective way of talking. But in the contrary, if there's something that we encounter that involve our feelings in there, involve this good or bad to us, or things that really very much relate to us, then when we make the judgments, it could be a problem, right? And actually, we could experience that in our daily life, in many instances in our daily life. So you could say that we are being covered by, or we are blind by our emotions, by our attachment. Therefore, whatever we see is blurred, it's not clear. Then if we have wisdom, then this wisdom is without grasping or rejecting to all dharmas. That is to say, there's no need to really hold on. And there's no need to really, you have to discard them. And in your mind, we have no good or bad or something that is benefit to ourselves or harmful to ourselves. We don't have this. If we could do so, then naturally we will be able to realize the self-nature and reaching Buddhahood. Okay, so we'll stop here.